Why, hello everybody. I'm just having a drink and we're going to do a workshop today. Why not? Beautiful day to do a workshop. The workshop is, and I've done these before, but it's great to talk about the oils in more depth, and I can hopefully expand a little bit more with the oils as well. The oils I'm talking about is Bajerski oils that I worked with from the very beginning, a decade and a half ago, from the start, which was healing, right the way up till this one here, which is the beautiful healing heartache oil, which is this one. So from the beginning of this oil to this oil, we went from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the magical number 8, infinity. These 8 amazing oils are normally with me most of the time wherever I go. I take them with me because they're my tools that I need for whatever emergency, whatever feeling I have during the day of how to strengthen or counteract or to heal in situations where people are around me and they just need a little bit of help. So they're my working tools, basically. Welcome to Mark Bajerski YouTube channel, everybody. I've got a heater on underneath me because Costa del Sol is becoming a little bit chilly now. You can go away. Where's that sun? We need the sun. So it's a great day. I've got this shirt on, which is pineapples. We all love pineapple, and we all know that by mixing pineapple and orange together and chewing pineapple and orange, it brings out the most amazing energy, most amazing physical feeling of happiness and joy within the body. That's something from Don Tolman and something that I've cherished, and it does work. It's incredible. Today we're talking about these oils for a couple of reasons. Of course, one of the reasons why I'm talking about these oils is because in the next few weeks we have our first Pure Energy Healing online course. It's something that we're proud of. We've been working on it for ever so long. People are now signing up every day, so I am thankful for everybody who's signing up. I had a lot of messages saying, what do we need to bring? Well, if you've got oils, get your oils ready, get your crystals ready, and any kind of incense. They're brilliant to bring, but you will receive all that information as you sign up for the Practitioner's course online. I decided that because I use them, they're amazing, and they're part of the course, I decided to put the price right down and offer free shipping with DHL, which means that they'll arrive to you in the next couple of 3 days. DHL is extremely fast, very expensive, but extremely fast. So the important thing is they get to you on time, okay? So not just that, but these 8 oils are now, I've reduced the price a lot. Okay, so this is a brilliant offer for these oils. These oils are not just oils, they are incredible oils that have worked with me. They're incredible, and I'm telling you, the work that they do is second to none, and we're going to talk about that today. So they're the 2 reasons. Anybody else who's watching this who would love the oils and to take advantage of a great opportunity on the price, then please feel free, because I'm happy that everybody gets the oils, because if you've got them, then you can work with them and you know how incredible they truly are. So how did it all start? Many people have already watched my videos and understood that oils started to come into my life through one of my first mentors, and that was a Wiccan high priestess, and she started showing me certain things that she'd learned through the countries. She was kind of a genius, PhD, worked in science in a laboratory, so she'd got all of this wealth of experience. Plus, she studied and read, I think, a book a day, sometimes more. So the wealth of knowledge and her traveling around the world, she was the psychic queen of Ireland. and she was employed by many people. She'd read for Tom Cruise, Joe Bon Jovi, loads of famous A-listers. She also participated in something very, very profound, which was a film about some missing artifacts that she had seen as she was doing a reading, a psychic reading, and she told the director where they were, and the director found them, and that was a film created, and she was invited to Cannes, and she was, treated like royalty basically, because she was good at her work, she was good at her job. The FBI used to call her for anything to do with satanic, occult sacrifices. She would be able to find the body, and she had studied all about this kind of field of work and tried to help the police whenever there was a problem. So her experience and her wealth of knowledge was second to none. When the pupil is ready, the teacher, when the pupil is ready, the teacher appears. That's what she said to me when we first met, because I said, "You live there?" "I just live there." And that's when she said those words, and I thought, wow, that's pretty profound. So I started learning, and she invited me into her home one day, and I saw a little jar, and the jar had flowers in and oil, and there was some writing, some very strange Celtic writing, and some other flowers, and a feather, and a few other things. I said, "What's that?" As curious as I was. She says, "I'm doing a spell." And I said, "What kind of spell?" She said, "A spell of abundance." I went, "Oh, okay, interesting." I said, "What's in the oil? What's in that bottle?" She said, "It's oil. It's my healing oil." And I said, "What does it heal?" She said, it works on spells, it works on healing people. I use it when I'm in pain. I use it when I want to connect. I went, "Wow, interesting." I said, "Would it be possible if I have a little bit of that oil?" She said, "Yes, be very careful with it." And she poured a little bit out. And she said, "This oil is over 40 years old." I think she might have said 30 or 40 years old. And I went, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, when I first started with oil," she said, "I used to add to it and it never ran out. So over the years, I'd kept this oil and I continually added to it. So the essence of the oil is there for decades." I went, "Wow, that's amazing." So I took this oil and I put it in my healing room and psychic room, and I started working with it. Within a couple of months, the flowers that I started picking didn't seem so important anymore. And I felt that the flower was dying in the oil, and it was like it received something, but then it was gone, and there was no need for that flower anymore. So all of a sudden, as I'm working with this oil, I felt the urge to put a crystal in it, and thus the beginning of my healing oil started. My crystal healing oils started from there, and as I wandered the world working, I came across certain crystals that I knew would fit into this healing oil, which I called my healing oil, pure energy healing oil. So my teacher was very interested and said, "That's amazing. Using crystals is a very, very, very good idea. How did you come up with that?" And I said, "I just felt it. And I only put certain crystals that I believe is right for the healing technique that I use and why I use the healing oil." She said, "That's fascinating." And then I remember going into this one beautiful shop, and they had a selection of different oils, all natural oils. And I believe it was a Moroccan shop. And I was smelling these different oils, and all of a sudden I smelt one oil and thought, wow, that is what I need to put in this healing oil. So I took that oil and put it into the oil that I got from my first mentor. From that moment on, I started to add oils that I chose. So now all of a sudden the oils began to change with my work, change with my thoughts, and change especially with my clients. So my clients gave me the information of how I used to work with this healing oil. I would never ever put a natural healing oil into there if it didn't smell right or feel right. It had to be perfect. I didn't want to tarnish that oil in any way or abuse it or just put anything in there. It had to be sacred to me. So that's how it started. And thus, from that moment on, the oil was always in creation. It was never an end. It was always working all the time. It was always evolving. So that was 16 years ago. That oil was called my healing oil. And that is this here. That is the healing oil. This is my first oil. So over the years, it has smelled differently from different clients. So some clients used to smell different smells all the time. Oh, is that ylang ylang? Is that, oh, what's that? That smells really different. What is it? Oh, is it, oh, hang on a minute. Is that sandalwood? Is that? And I'd say, yeah, today I'm adding certain oils into that. Today, this oil has a very strong smell of a certain flower. It's beautiful, and you can feel the healing when you breathe it in through the nose. The healing oil is great to have in your hands to breathe through your nose, and as is all of the oils. But the healing oil in particularly, for me, is always a good start for the temples, the third eye, which is a cleansing and clearing, the throat, to heal your throat from all the issues and problems and all the things that we don't say and sometimes do say and wish we didn't. It's also a beautiful place to rub on your chest and on your stomach. These places are profound with this oil, and it really works. But breathing this oil is amazing. Lavender is something that I believe right now is a very powerful flower. Lavender to me is amazing, and part of this healing oil has now been combined with lavender, and you can smell it. It's really beautiful. Some people love it, some people say it's okay, but this isn't just lavender, it's crystals. As a lot of you have asked me what's in those jars over there, I'll just turn and tip. What's in those jars over there, Mark? Well, in those jars are just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of my healing oils that I work on daily, and then they get put into bottles. So I work on them as much as I can, and meaning working on them is adding crystals to them, adding new oils to them, which are all 100% organic. The oil that is we call base oil, which masseurs use when they add a few drops of this oil into it, is now almond. And then from almond, I began with, was it almond I began with? And actually it began with sunflower 16 years ago. So I got sunflower from my mentor. So it was a sunflower oil. So from sunflower oil, I went to the nut oils. And from the nut oils, today it's all changed and it's now gone to grape seed oil. So some of my new ones are fully grape seed oil. The older ones had maybe 3 years ago had nut oils, but because they've been used and utilized, that nut oil is nearly all gone, and the new oil of grapeseed is now inside. But I still say to people, the first 3 oils, which are healing, cleansing and abundance, I used to put almond into as the base oil. So I would rather be honest and say, look, I did used to put it in, so there may be a fraction of it still in there, mixed in with the grapeseed oil, but the other 4 are all grapeseed oil. So the healing oil, what does the healing oil do? Well, when I first started healing clients, they came with issues of many different sufferings, and it was mainly love, losing jobs, grief, not knowing their path and their journey, feeling lonely, feeling depressed, feeling abused. And that was the kind of work that I was doing on the healing side of things. So the spiritual healing, the clearing away of blocks, the healing and strengthening of the body. So the healing oil tended to work on people who were going through traumatic stress on the emotional level. It also worked extremely well on the physical that people would come with different diseases, problems that just started to occur because of the abuse. So they would all of a sudden come and say, I'm having problems down below, or I can't sleep well, or I now suffer with anxiety, now I have a permanent headache. And this oil would just come out and start to work magic. People would often say, could I have some of the oil? And I'd have 3 little bottles. I'd have these bottles ready, and I would always take, I take the syringe, scoop out the fresh oil from the healing and squirt in and give them that bottle as a gift to continue the healing work. I did that for years. I never sold the healing oil, I always gifted it. There were times that many therapists would come and say, this oil is amazing. Is it possible if I can buy a big tub? And I'd say, well, it's expensive oil and I give it freely, but if you want to buy a big tub, it's going to cost hundreds, And they'd say, it's okay. They dilute it down, they only put a few drops in, and they use the base carrier oil, and they did massages, and they were getting amazing results. Till this day, the Pure Energy Healing oil, the healing oil, the original one, is sold in over 30 countries, and some of the most amazing practitioners of massage use this oil and swear by it. They share it with the world. So it really is one of the most amazing oils in the world. It works wonders when you are giving, say, like your family a massage, a friend a massage, your partner a massage. It's amazing. So you only need 3 drops and you massage that in. Also, when somebody is suffering a certain physical issue, as a healer, we will attune to that energy, whether it's you believe it's your foot, which is causing you great stress and it's hurting a lot. As a healer, we never go to where you tell us the pain is. We try and find where the root cause comes from. So I would suggest if you come on the Pure Energy Healing course, you'll learn how to find the root cause, and thus you would use the healing oil to rub very close to where that root cause is, so the healing oil absorbs into that particular place and starts the healing process. So it's incredible. I work with this oil as often as I can, meaning that I will sit by the oils and place my hands over them and put healing energy into them. That is my work. That is how I work with crystals. It's how I work with clients. It's how I work with oils. Everything is energy. If you learn to channel that energy and put it into an oil, you can activate the oil and add to its own amazing healing ability. So you're adding more healing ability to that oil or crystal. So the healing oil is my number one oil. I love it. I work with it often. I rub it on often when I have headaches, if I don't feel too good, if I have a little bit of anxiety, if I find myself getting stressed over situations that happen to us daily, which we all do. I will always take a little bit of healing oil and rub it on. Okay, so that's the healing oil. I hope you understand how profound that healing oil is, because from that healing oil, all the other healing oils have that inside it. So every single other healing oil has this oil inside it. So the beginning of the next oil was very, very intriguing to me, because people were coming to me therefore after that, maybe 2 years, 3 years, and there was a shift in energy 16 years ago. And it was like for 3 years I could feel the energy shifting, and it was like there was a darker energy at play. And it was like people were coming to me saying, I don't know what's wrong, but I feel like I'm not being protected anymore. I feel like I'm vulnerable. And I'm saying I'm hearing this from all over the place. My clients are telling me that they feel like they're being attacked. There was lots of different names: psychic attack, spiritual attack, spirit in between two worlds trying to attach. There are lots of different phenomena, as well as the house. House was feeling weird, and I was feeling weird going into this building, and it felt weird, and it felt like, and there was a kind of like an awakening or a new awareness that I thought, wow, this is fascinating. People were coming down and lying down, and it wasn't about healing as much as I was noticing I was doing more work that was swaying me in the direction of cleansing people of negative energy. And thus, one day, as I was doing a healing session, I just suddenly heard, you need to make a cleansing oil. Wow. So from the healing oil, I took a cupful of healing oil, poured it into a new jar. It was a jar about this size. And I added some crystals in there, which were crystals that were part of the cleansing work that I was using. So somebody would come who needed cleansing. So I would use sage. I would use Palo Santo as essence around their body, the smoke. And then I'd be giving them crystals like tektite. I'd be giving them a crystal to protect them. And there were so many different crystals in there. Black obsidian, black tourmaline, and it just went on and on and on and on of these crystals that were kind of protecting them. Moldavite was going in there, and like, wow. Then I came across a most beautiful person who told me that you can get pure Palo Santo. I said, really? Yeah, pure Palo Santo. Wow. So I made the discovery of a beautiful soul who I could get Palo Santo. Palo Santo. Open this up and smell it, blows your head off. It's incredible. Very hard to get. Takes minimum of 3 months to get an order of one of them, sometimes 6 months, because it's an endangered tree, so it's very, very, very protected now. But there's a lot of people who rape that kind of thing. But this is done. It's authentic. It's original. It's organic, and It's done in a way that for me is natural, and it's not causing any suffering, which that was really important for me. Just like my sticks, the village who make my sticks from Palo Santo, it's got to be done correct. So it's done as a family in the mountains, and they collect the sticks. They don't cut down trees like the crazies do. It's done authentically, so then it takes a long time. It can take a year sometimes to get 2,000 boxes, but that is what it is. That's how it works. So I found this oil, and like the Palo Santo sticks, this oil is incredible. Incredible. There's no words. It's incredible. So I started to add Palo Santo into this oil, and I started to use this oil with crystals, and thus I created my second beautiful jar of oil called cleansing. Now the cleansing oil was slightly different from the healing oil, because the cleansing oil worked in places which were slightly different. So the cleansing oil would always go to the back. I'd always say to them, please, can I get to your back? So the client would sit up before a healing session, and I would put the oil in my hand and go down the spine, but I found myself going at either side of the kidneys. And I realized that negative energy of attacks and other negative energies would sit on the back, and thus a lot of people get backache and stress in the back. So that was amazing. I was using it as well when people were coming because they were abused by their partner physically and emotionally, and I'd be saying, I need to get to the stomach, and I'd be rubbing it on the stomach, and I'd be doing healing sessions predominantly on the stomach to heal that attack, because I found that a lot of my clients were holding that energy in the stomach. Made sense. My mum died of stomach cancer. My dad was an abuser, so he'd scream and shout, and my mum would absorb that energy in the stomach, and thus she got stomach cancer and died. So it made sense. All of these things were coming together. People who were getting stomach issues found that they were sensitives. They were empaths. They were feeling pain. A lot of people don't feel it. They let it go, and that's great. Good for you. Brilliant. But a lot of people hold on to that pain. And thus, when somebody attacks them, or when they're feeling negative energy around, it sits in the stomach. So if you're a worker with general public who can be quite abusive, if you're in a position at the bank or a public shopping centre and you get abuse, people were coming to me and they were lying down, and without a word said, I'd go straight for the cleansing oil and rub it on their stomach. The cleansing oil can also be used in the same places as the healing oil too, depending on what you feel of how you are that day or your client. So this oil was doing magic. I was really happy with these two oils. I thought, that's it, I don't need anything else. I hope I'm not boring you. So there's me on my third year, working every day, getting up 9 o'clock in the morning with joy, getting to work for 10 o'clock, first client, second client, then it came dinner time, 1 o'clock, and I'd have dinner till 2 o'clock, and then get back again, 3 o'clock next client, 4 o'clock next client, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, okay, there's somebody who desperately needs you, okay, 8 o'clock, so I finish sometimes at 9 o'clock at night, no problem, because I'm like buzzing. This is like my life, this is my world, I've found my calling, this is no longer work, this is playtime, this is everything that I ever wanted. I'm now understanding the human body, I'm now understanding the physical, but most of all, I'm now understanding spiritual. I understand what's going on in a world that I believed was a man chasing his tail and living in depression with IBS and anger, to now understanding that all of that was just an illusion. So I'm now getting clients coming in, and all of a sudden, after that 1 year of working with negative energy and people having negative energy, all of a sudden, again, as the universe shifts, as the cosmos breathes in and out, as the waves move back and forth, as we breathe in and out, everything changes. So the tide goes out and the new tide comes in, and all of a sudden people were coming to me with new feelings, new thoughts. I thought, this is really strange. A lot of people are saying the same thing. And they kept saying that I can't get any luck. I am unlucky. I think I've got bad karma. I think karma is attached to me. I think bad things are happening to me. I'm down on my luck. Everything's going wrong. I can't get a job. I can't find somebody beautiful in my life. And it was like, it's funny how everybody's using this same wording and same energy. They all feel kind of the same way. Not everybody, but many. And all of a sudden I'm doing a healing session on this beautiful lady with long golden locks who was crying, literally crying. And I remember her beautiful blue eyes when she opened her eyes, and I said, that was such a beautiful healing session. And I said, I feel a new energy around you. It's like abundance. She left that day and contacted me about 3 weeks later. She got a new job, and she then was working in a solicitor's office in Fuengirola. She'd got a brand new car on a brilliant deal. She was flying back to visit somebody, I think it was in either Australia or Canada, with them she hadn't seen. The boss said no problem. He paid for her flight because she hadn't been there for like 3 or 4 years. She told me that she'd kind of like started seeing somebody and she doesn't want to talk about it, doesn't want to like cause any bad thoughts or feelings, but we'll see how it goes. She later on married this guy who was the solicitor. What I'm saying is, prior to that, as she got up, I heard the word abundance. Abundance wasn't about wealth. It was about everything good that you deserve. And as she was crying, she was clearing away. Those tears were a sign of her heart opening and clearing and allowing in a new energy. She got up from that table and she felt abundant. She said, I feel more self-worth. I feel it's time for me to look after myself. And I thought, okay, that was a really good healing session. Whatever she got there, I can see she's got something from it. But as I was giving the healing session, again, from nowhere, create another oil and call it abundance. So thus, the third bottle came into my life. I took the healing and I took the cleansing and I started a new bottle called Abundance. From that moment on, I started smelling new natural oils, aromatherapy oils, different oils all over the world. And actually, and what I didn't tell you at the beginning is, the first oil and the second oil, I had many people who came to me who were, let's say, deeply spiritual. And they were alchemists, healers, psychics, all sorts of different amazing people who had written books, who had traveled the world, who had met, one man met Yogananda and lots of other, Amar and all of those people, and they were presenting me with oils. Imagine. So the oil that I talk about wasn't only from my first mentor and her 40 years of working with that oil, but I was also receiving oils from every corner of the world. And I would hold that oil before I would even think about putting it into my oils. And some oils I would say, this doesn't feel right for me, but thank you so much. I will gift it to somebody else. No disrespect intended, it's just not the same oil that I would want to use, the same vibration. And I don't want to mess my oils. I would never mess my oils. So there were many times that I wouldn't touch certain oils, but there were times that somebody would give me an oil and I would hold it and think, this feels good vibration. I'd open it, smell it, and think, okay, that's going to work for cleansing, or that's going to work for healing. And I'd pour it in and I would mix that oil. I would always ask what was in the oil, and it would always be the same kind of idea, same kind of thought process, the same kind of practice, in the sense of how to create oils in a way like Dr. Emoto talked about how you can put good energy into water. So we were all kind of picking up the same energy that Spirit was trying to tell us. So it was great that from all corners of the world we would create certain oils in the same way, and we're sharing it. There's been many a times I've sent these oils out to literally thousands of people who were healers, psychics, masseurs, yoga instructors, and just said, try that. And they'd be so thankful. And from there, they would create their own oil, which was something that I always try to encourage as a pure energy healing practitioner, as a guide. You never copy somebody, but you take what you feel works and then create your own. So the abundance came into my beautiful world as my third oil. The abundance oil was used on the heart. Predominantly, the heart is what needs to be strengthened. The heart is what needs to be cleansed and healed. And abundance pours in through the heart, in my humble opinion. I would use the oil on my hands. And in this oil, I've always loved an oil called Ylang Ylang. One of 100 different oils that have been put into here, but I always liked the smell of Ylang Ylang. It gave that feeling of openness, love. There's so many words I can use for Ylang Ylang, but it brings calmness, joy. It brings all the feelings that I need to restart my way of thinking. So when I breathe in, or tell my clients to rub it on the hands and breathe it in through the nose and blow out through the mouth, there is a beautiful energy exchange once it goes in through the nose. Then I would ask them to rub it onto the temples, on their third eye, and then go down to the heart and rub into the heart around that area of the chest, and then lay down, and then they would receive their healing session. This oil has made magic. The crystals that I were putting into the healing oil were many different types of beautiful yellow crystals, gold crystals. I'd use pyrite. If I was to show you the oils in this one now, there's so many even. There's too many to count. There's possibly 150 to 200 oil crystals in there. So yeah, going back to, you know what really bothered me the other day? Really gets me angry is you know, there is an evil in this world, and I know I shouldn't be talking about this, but boy, Hollywood, you are evil. So I went to the pictures with my daughter to watch a film which was called Wonder Woman, and the whole story was about an ancient tool which was made by the gods, but by bad gods. And this ancient tool gave wishes if you held it, but then you would reap the negative from it. So if you received your wish, something bad had happened to you as well. So everything bad happens to you even though you got your wish. And you know what crystal it was? It was a citrine. Well, citrine, and if you've been watching any of my videos for the past year, Citrine has played a massive part in my healing work. Citrine fingers that I have on my website, I hunted down for citrine fingers. It took me maybe 4 months, and I just said to the owner of all of these beautiful crystals that they dug, he said, how many do you want? I said, I want every one of them. And the reason why is because citrine is a very powerful crystal that actually brings abundance into your life. Now, isn't that strange that these Hollywood movies predict the same thing as, yes, it does bring a wish into your life, it does bring abundance, but then they changed it and hijacked it to make it sound like a wish is evil. And that is the satanic push of these global satanic evil monstrosity that's called Hollywood. Anyway, so I was using in this beautiful oil many different types of gorgeous authentic oils that like mind-blowing, and they work so well and mixed so well that many people were coming asking for this oil, saying it works, Mark. And I said, yeah. Remember that every day when I came into work, my 3 oils would be the first thing I would focus on. So I would light the candles, get the cards ready, get my healing bed ready, cleanse it with Palo Santo and sage if it needed it. And then I would go to my oils and place my hands on each jar of oil for between 5 and 10 minutes. That's the routine. And then my first client would come. So my 3 oils were here, ready. I didn't have bottles, only them little tiny ones that I would gift freely. And now I believed that was it. Nothing else was needed. I had everything covered there with those 3 oils. So 3 years went by, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years. Remember, it's only these 3 oils, these 3 amazing oils, always came with me, and I was traveling the world, going all over the place, people flying me into corporations, flying into, you name it, whatever they were asking me to go to do, cleansing properties, businesses, healing people who were bad. I was visiting royalty. I was doing like major stuff all over. It was quite incredible with these 3 oils and these hands and the tools that I'd use, as well as the oils, the crystals. It came a point where I was meditating here one day, and I'd finished my last book called Seeing the Invisible. And I sat down and meditated with a dear friend. And as we were meditating, I wrote down 3 things. And the 3 things were Palo Santo, sage, and frankincense. It was just written down. And when I'd finished the meditation, about an hour after, it all made sense. I need to make another oil. And thus we created Sacred Oil. The 3 sacred oils in one, with the most amazing crystals. I took the oil of healing, I took the oil of cleansing, I took the oil of abundance, and I added a little bit of that into the beginning of this new oil. Then I took the Palo Santo, I ordered it and it came. I ordered sage from the Alpujarras, and I also ordered frankincense. So, and thus I created this new oil. The carrier oil was then, which I'd been using for a number of years, grape seed. So it was like it all came together so well. So this is now my 4th oil, this is out of my territory, so is this going to work? And that's the truth. I hope this works. What is it for? What are we using it for? And I tell you this, I was doing a healing session on somebody who was very, very bad. They came here, and anyway, I don't want to talk about it, but it was bad, right? It was heavy. And I gave the healing session and they left very happy. And I was very happy. So I knew I did my job that day. All of a sudden, I stood over here and I started feeling a really awful pain in my back. It wasn't a physical pain. It was like somebody was squeezing. It was like an ache, but really, really hurting. And I stopped and I thought, that's negative energy I just picked up. As so many healers do pick up on the back. And it was that point where I made this oil, and I'd been working on it for 3 months. I'd been putting pure energy healing into it, but I hadn't used it. And I thought, this is it. I need to use this oil now. And this is the test. I went to that oil there and I took a tiny bit out and I rubbed it exactly where that pain was. That moment was life transforming for me because I learned something that I never really truly understood. I knew about healing, I knew how healing works, but this was my own experience in my own body that I'd never felt before. I rubbed sacred oil onto that place, and I kid you not, I felt the energy run from where I'd rubbed it to the other side of my body. I was literally in shock. And I think I spoke to myself, that energy's just moved. It's run away and gone to the other side. I took that oil again and I rubbed the oil across the other side. And within seconds, it disappeared. It went. What I learned that day is that sacred oil is something so very unique. All the 3 combinations, including the crystals and the work that I put into it, has now been able to heal the most terrible energy that can attach to us, and it runs away. Energy is a force that is alive. I realized at that point, energy isn't dead, which comes to you and that you feel it. It's alive and it moves and it knows when something is trying to clear it away. And it ran away. Can you imagine that? A healer after a decade and a half. I never knew that when I'm healing people. I never felt that. But for the first time, I felt it. It was like I was writing it down. It was like I could see it as a scientist. I saw it move. I felt it move to the other side. No more pain here. It's here now. How could that be? There's only one explanation. The sacred oil scared it and moved to the other side, so I rubbed it on there and it disappeared. Thus, I cried and said, this is one of the most amazing oils in the world. From that moment on, the sacred oil has been the #1 seller on my website of oils. People have sent me messages of the miracles it's done and helped with people with tremendous suffering that they're going through. The types of suffering that they went through was depression, anxiety, illness of losing family members, people walking out on their life, people who have had businesses with partners and they've run off with all their money. I could go on and on and on. But the physical as well, it was helping tons of people with physical issues that, like, wow. So I was getting feedback from clients who were telling me that the sacred oil does more than you can imagine. But the sacred oil started to become more evident that it was helping people connect to the spirit world or to their higher consciousness. People were reporting that they were using it in meditations, mantras. They were using it in chants. They were using it in just everyday life, and they were finding answers. They were connecting to this source energy that I talk about, which all the greats have done, all the Einsteins, all the people sat under a tree and an apple hits them on the head. These people were attuned to that energy. Therefore, I realized that sacred oil is really that. It's sacred, and it works with that sacred energy. So this oil is used worldwide for meditations, for healing work. It's used amazingly well for anybody who's a clairvoyant, clairaudient, psychic, whatever that kind of work you do is amazing when rubbed on the third eye. Absolutely amazing breathed through the nose, and phenomenal for anywhere on the body where you feel you either want to strengthen, clear, or heal. So it is an all-round number one for me oil. It tackles so many different versions of energy, of healing and strengthening the physical and the emotional as well as the spiritual. So it's one of my most proudest moments, really is. From that moment on, I moved on to another crystal oil, which I say crystal oil because I wanted to create something that was like really, really powerful. I kind of thought that the sacred oil was a perfect all-round oil that would be brilliant for everything. But I wanted to now raise the vibration, and that vibration was to attune to something higher than I've ever attuned to. There was only one real crystal that ever brought me to a state of real nirvana, a place where I was blown away, where colours that I've never seen before, visualizations that I've never seen before, connecting to what I believe is an extraterrestrial energy, and that was Moldavite. I was selling Moldavite over these 16 years, and my client list was growing and growing and growing. I had orders for months in advance that I couldn't actually finish working with certain crystals because of my work. I was too busy working, so I couldn't, so what I was doing was literally taking Moldavites, putting them on clients as well as my other crystals, and once I'd done the healing session, I'd get it ready for my client who wanted to buy that. So it was like it was taking a toll to be able to do all of that at once. But I knew that the next oil, which I was working on a client, I knew as I was working on that client, a big German guy, as I was working on him and the amazing things that happened, and it's in my new book coming out soon called The Power of Moldavite. It was at that particular moment that I knew the Moldavite, and like I've worked on a lot of German guys, like big, powerful German guys from around the world, and these are like, they don't put up with crap, they don't believe in all of this hocus pocus, but yeah, they were coming to me saying, this is pretty special. And I'm saying, okay, so I'm using the Moldavite, placing it on the third eye, one in the hand, the other hand, and doing the work. And thus at one point, something magical happened, and I thought, I need to make another oil, and it's Moldavite oil. So I ended up starting by taking the healing oil, a little bit of the healing oil, a little bit of the cleansing oil, a little bit of the abundance oil, and now the sacred oil into a jar and putting that at the bottom, and then starting with Moldavite oil. When I worked with Moldavite, the only oil that I really loved working with, which when I was really going deep, when I really wanted to attune to that extraterrestrial, powerful, unusual energy, I would always go for Palo Santo, always. So it made sense that when I made this beautiful, amazing Moldavite oil, it could only be Palo Santo. I then started to add in my beautiful, it's in there, my Moldavite oil. I added literally thousands and thousands of Moldavites. I put those Moldavites in. Why that just dropped, I don't know. There you go. So I'm working on this oil, and throughout the day, week, month, I'm like, this oil is like really amazing. I started working on a few clients, and they were experiencing some amazing feelings, effects, and not just that day, but after the session, they'd tell me within those 7 days, the experiences of dreams, of vivid dreams, of astral travel, of connecting to something that they've never connected to was starting to happen. I knew that the Moldavite oil was an amazing oil. How I would use the Moldavite oil was ask them to rub it in their hands, breathe it through the nose, put it on their third eye, and go to the top of the head. Just rub it at the top of the head. I also asked them to put it at the back of the neck. That also worked really well. I also asked them to put it here as well, and some on the heart. And the outcome for this oil is it is one of the best-selling oils on the website, and the testimonials for this oil is unreal. The amount of people who have sent me text, which it would take me a day to read, of the profound effects of this oil is unreal. It is a true connector to what I believe is the other realms, the extraterrestrial, the connection of the spirit, not just the spirit world, but the spirit, the great spirit, the other realms. We can talk about this all day, but suffice to say, I believe this oil is one of the most beautiful oils, which is used for shamanic work. Many shamans love it. They use it for the shamanic work. They use it for any kind of real high intensity meditations. I'm talking about fasting as well. I'm talking about these places where you go and you just don't speak for 2 weeks. This oil is used because they want to connect to something where it's so intense that this is the place where they get the most benefit from this oil. This oil is used in drumming sessions. This oil is used by, like I said, shamans and lots of other people who work in that special kind of healing work, who are teachers and sharers. The most profound thing for this oil, I would suggest, is if you end up learning how to do rituals, circles, blessings. If you learn how to do cleansings in the sense of where you're creating a space, this is beautiful to work with, because you are empowering yourself with the new energy, and you are pulling in not only the energy of the universe, that healing natural energy, but you're pulling in something else. I'm going to leave it there, but I want to just share one message with you. When you do things like rituals and you create a circle, anybody can do it. When you create it with love and power, try one day to do it outside. And the reason why is because when you do it outside, you can see above you. And when you create that space and sit in that circle, or place somebody else in that circle and give them a healing session, just look up. You might surprise yourself who passes by to say hello. I know it sounds bizarre, so it sounds crazy, but there is a strong connection between you and extraterrestrials, and you just don't know it. But they do come, and they do visit, and they're often flying above when you create that intention and that energy. I know because I have seen it numerous of times above me when I've been outside in certain countries around the world, whether it be Ibiza or wherever I am working, and there's a whole crowd of us, and I get people into the ritual. I sometimes look up and they're there above us. Moments, and then they're gone again. So there is something in that, and maybe one day we will understand that and create that more, and we will do that more. And I would encourage people to do that more, because I think you and me are the real people who the extraterrestrials need to speak to, not the governments who want to shoot them down and all that darkness. We are the real true humanity. So that's Moldavite oil. It's beautiful. Moldavite oil came, and then a lot of people were saying to me that I would like to start to work with Moldavite, but I'm a little bit frightened. I'm a new beginner. I don't really know how to start, and it sounds like Moldavite oil is for people who have been in this work, who want to really expand, and I don't even know what to do. So I was receiving message after message, and I'm saying, okay, that makes sense. So I decided to make my next oil, and this oil is called Awakening. An awakening oil is a beautiful oil to help you awaken. So we clear away the fears and the worries, which this oil does. This oil helps you attune to your higher self. I became awake and aware at 38 years old. It's so beautiful. How do you awaken and become aware? Well, it's a great question. It really is. And it's very difficult for most people to understand, but if you go to the gym and start exercising and take a weight and start lifting it for the next 4 months, you'll find that if you're lifting with this arm, you'll get a muscle here. And if you don't do anything with this arm, you won't get a muscle. Every part of your body needs to have exercise. So when you breathe, you are breathing in oxygen, which then exercises and makes everything open, and you become aware, and you feel things happening and awakening. Okay, so I needed to make something in an oil that would awaken something very profound. What is the most profound thing in your body that we all know exists because it's real? It's in all the texts. The Buddha's head is that of what we talk about, which is a pine cone. So I knew that what I needed to get is pine, natural pine. And thus, I looked and hunted for natural pine. I found pure pine because the pine cone is the absolute it's a mirror image of something inside your brain which, if cleansed and cleared and looked after and awoken, starts to help you see. Now, most people don't know this, but the people who want us to be dumbed down, that's the ones who don't want you to think and connect and see, because you'll realize that you've been hard done to, and they're winding you up every day, as we know now. They started to dumb us down. How did they dumb us down? Well, back in the Second World War, Adolf Hitler realized that if he put something into the water, into everybody's drink in the concentration camps, nobody would rebel or fight or do anything. They'd just walk around like zombies. That very same chemical is used today, and it's called fluoride. So we've just changed what it does, and we stick it into toothpaste. Nothing's changed. It's still the same thing. It still dumbs you down, but they've just taken it because they needed to sell it. So they sell it in our fluoride, and they sell it in our toothpaste, and they put it into our water. And in the water, when you drink it, it calcifies, or it puts a cover, like your kettle. If you've got a metal kettle and you put water in it, if you live in a place like Mias Pueblo, you can see it calcifies very quickly. So you can't actually boil the kettle as quick because it's blocking what the kettle should be doing, the metal should be doing, right? Same thing with your pineal gland. So I realized when I was meditating, wow, I need to get pine. And sure enough, I took it, I rubbed it on my third eye, I rubbed it on my temples, I rubbed it on the back of my, top of my head, they call that the crown chakra, and back of my neck, and I breathed it in for about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, breathing it in, because you're breathing it in, it's healing and cleansing it. People were saying, as I felt, this is great. I'm actually feeling more, and this is really this is really working. I am feeling like things that I've never felt before. I'm seeing things that I've ever seen before. I'm becoming more aware. So I realized that I'd hit it right on the nail on the head here. I'd made something. So through all of these oils that I had now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I added all of these oils into this new one, and then I created this one with added pine. So you've got all of these oils into this one. So from there, everybody after that, a few weeks later, was saying they were feeling energetically low. And I thought, okay, what do we do to bring people up? Well, it makes sense, Mark, that Don Tolman, that you yourself made a video on lemons. Lemon is the best and most powerful energizer on planet Earth. It is the most powerful Mother Earth given fruit that does so much work to the body. You have no idea. It's the only fruit that does the work it does. No other fruit does the work that a lemon does. No other fruit. The lemon is the only one that does something so incredible. Go to Don Tolman and just type in Don Tolman YouTube and put lemon. Don Tolman lemon, and listen to how he speaks about how the lemon works in the body. It's incredible physically, but it's also incredible if you take that pureness and 100% lemon, you create this. So I put all these oils in and I created the Energizing Oil. Energizing is for when you feel low, when you feel energetically low and you don't know why. This oil can be rubbed in many different places, okay? A lot of people are telling me that they're using it on the bottom of their feet and it's really energizing them. This oil is amazing for people who are working full-time as trainers, people who are teachers, anybody who's on their feet all day, anybody who's like a hairdresser, anybody who's working, running around, but feel drained. They take this, they breathe it in through their nose for maybe 5 minutes and then rub it where they feel they need it. Where do you feel energetically low? I feel it in my head, so you rub the oil in the head. I feel energetically low in my heart. I just feel like, you know, because your hands go on your heart, rub it where you feel your hands want to go. Why do you think people do this? They do it because they're clearing the energy away. That is a natural form of healing from the hands. So you do that or this. Well, when your body is telling you, oh, you can stand up and just do this sometimes, or you can just stand and like do that, or you can stand and do that, or you can lay down and be aware of where your hands go, because your hands are healing you in a natural way. By doing that, you would lead the healing oil of an energizing healing oil. You rub it on your hands and then you'd follow where your hands want to go. And then you would rub it on the skin. You'd breathe it through your nose. And people say that if they're on their dinner break, they will take the energizing oil, rub it in their hands, breathe it in for 5 minutes, and then just rub it wherever they felt they needed it, and then they would feel great. So energizing oil is a wonderful oil to keep with you, to keep you up. If you are doing heavy work and you've got another 2 or 3 hours at work and you're just exhausted, I swear to you, take that oil, breathe it in, rub it anywhere where you feel you want to rub it, and you will feel the energy lift. Your energy will lift. One of my favorite parts to use this on is on the heart, because it makes my heart stronger. It beats faster, it works harder, and then it helps me through the time I need it. So energizing oil was really the final oil. That was it for me. That was 7 oils. And then came a moment where it wasn't I need number 8 oil. There was something that was bothering me through the whole of my career, and that was the suffering of the heart. The suffering of the heart. I realized I wanted to get something that would help the pain of a lifetime of my clients who were suffering with the heart. And it was like, my husband died when, we got married. We were 22 years old. I'm now 57 and I've never met anybody. My heart is still in pain. It feels like he died yesterday. That they were kind of like those moments when I thought, I really need to find an oil that heals the heart. I want an oil that when a client would come or say to me, Mark, the partner that I loved has just died, or he's just walked out and found somebody new. I needed an oil that would target a specific place of the heart, only the heart, to be able to heal that pain. And the only oil I visualized and understood was from, and the reason why this happened is because I envisioned it, I saw it. And sometimes I'll do a visualization of a rose. And it's about 3 or 4 people who stand around the rose, and somebody loves the rose, somebody laughs at the rose, somebody spits at the rose, and somebody stands on the rose and kills it. And the rose is just a rose, but everybody has a different feeling to that rose. It may make somebody happy or bring back bad memories, but the rose is something that is significant. It's to do with the heart, and people feel pain or joy. So I just realized that I need rose. So I ended up searching for rose, and in this jar is about, I don't know how many thousands, and it's from Bulgaria. And I got this because my business started to do better and better. So I invested in rose oil. So I got rose oil. I got all the rest of my oils and put a little bit of the rest of the oil into the beginning of it. And then I started using all the beautiful crystals in that oil, rose quartz, you name every crystal that is of love and healing, I would put into this oil, which is over here. And I started to create it with the help of, believe it or not, my ex-wife. And I said to her, how do you feel now? She said, yeah, I'm okay. And I said, good. I said, do you feel that, me and you are over and we're okay and, we've got over it and we've grown? And she said, yeah. And I said, would you do me a massive favor? She went, sure. I said, would you take this little bit of oil and work on it and put your love in there? And she said, how do you want me to do that? And I said, well, do you appreciate the time that we had together? Yes. Put your love into that. And do you appreciate that what you've gone through has made you stronger and now you're ready to move on? Yes. All of that energy, if you put into there, as I will then help people, because the energy that you've healed from is now the same feeling that you've pulled through and you're putting into the oil. So it needed a feminine and a masculine. Then I put that oil into the big one, and thus I spent the rest of my time working on that oil, putting love and healing the heart from there. The Healing Heart oil has been a tremendous oil and a tremendous help for anybody who's gone through those pains and sufferings. Anybody who don't see the children anymore because of one thing or another, this works. Anything that hurts the heart and anything that you want to strengthen the heart because of, this is an amazing oil. And this was number 8 oil. I rub it predominantly on the heart, but I always like to breathe it in for at least 5 to 15 minutes. It is the most amazing feeling. And after those 15 minutes and rubbing it on the heart, I often take my left hand, hold my right hand out and just place it on my heart and let the energy pour through the universe into the heart, which blasts an energy that makes the heart stronger. Thus, within a few weeks, you're healed and you feel better. Those, my dear friends, are my life's work. I put 100% love. I believe in every single one of these oils. I love them with all my heart. They travel with me as they do every single pure energy healing practitioner around the world. who buys these and works with them. There are many different oils in the world, and I think they're all fascinating. But this story of these 8 oils is a story of true work, experience, hands-on, and knowledge through my clients' reactions and actions thereafter. I believe in these oils more than I believe in any oil in the world, and I know they work 100%. If you are a pure energy healer, or you're going to be on the Pure Energy Healing 4-day online course with me and Layla Satie in the next few weeks, I would recommend these oils as any oils, but I would recommend these because they're my life and I know they work. I recommend them because every single issue that any client has, you have the oil for that issue, that I know. I also want to say that I have reduced the price down for these oils at the price that basically costs me, because DHL is so expensive. So I've incorporated the cost as well as DHL and the bottles and the oils, and basically you're getting them at what I pay for them. So I am not making a profit from this, but I am glad that you're going to get them because they're going to be an amazing tool for this 4-day Pure Energy Healing online course in the next few weeks coming up. So I did this for you, but at the same time, I want to open it up to everybody else because everybody deserves this. So if you can, then I wish you luck. If you can't, then you can buy one at a time, or you can make your own. Or you can make your own. Or you can make your own. Nothing wrong with that. Beautiful idea. I encourage you. So that's it, guys. I love you all. If you've been watching this, it's 1 hour, 16-minute workshop. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's flown by. I hope you've got lots of information from this. And as a final message today, I just want to say thank you with all my heart. And if you have time tomorrow at 6 o'clock, if you would like to join me live on the Richie Allen radio show, I have some information to share that I haven't shared for a while, but this is, when I say for a while, this is very important information to do with something that gets put in people's arm right now. And I'm going to share the truth with that of my experience and from the clients I've learned from who's had this in the arm. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to share that on the Richie Allen radio show. So it might be a bit controversial, but it's my truth. And I don't care whether you think I'm crazy or not. It's my truth, and I know what my experience is, and I know what's just happened over these past 2 weeks since that has entered into thousands of people. I love you all. I hope to see you on the beautiful 4-day powerful online Pure Energy Healing course. This coming up next few weeks. I'll leave the link below, as I will leave the link below for this special offer because I think it's quite hard to find on the website. Okay, so I'll leave both links below. I hope you enjoyed today. I enjoyed talking to you. I've really enjoyed today, thank you. And I'm now going to start to work on these crystals that you can't see because that's my work. Have a most beautiful day from my heart to yours. Ciao. Bye for now.